And we are live, guys. Welcome to another live stream from Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. What we're going to talk about today is how to develop inner peace with semen retention. First of all, I'm going to start with 3 stories. Number 1 story is the comment that I got on yesterday's video. I woke up and this was the comment that I got, and I want you guys to hear it. This was a guy, okay, so he says basically, I was talking about emotions yesterday, right? And my 100-day streak of semen retention. He responds, my longest streak was 37 days. It's not that I focused more on things during that time, but trivial things disgusted me to a whole new level. A deep hatred and anger awoke inside of me like never before. Something more sinister than just frustration took control of me, anything not related to me. I could not gain any benefit from it. So now he's talking about semen retention, I suppose. It was a waste of time in my eyes. Family, relationships, social interaction, social media, others' opinion as well, I guess. I turned into a literal zero fucks given walking attitude being. Even if the world in front of me started to burn in hell, I simply could care less. Not even women, sex, life, money, revenge, hope for a better future could make me change my mind. It was all a charade created by this world to chain me up. When I realized this, my hatred grew stronger. I lost all those feelings with my relapse. It felt like the psychopath within had taken hold of me. So, yeah. So that was basically an interesting comment. Where does that come from? I'm going to explain that in this video. And the second story was basically in order for me to understand women. And really, like, what opened up my eyes was the manosphere. Like, you know, they call it the red pill movement, where you've got the blue pill and the red pill. The blue pill is basically those who accept women the way they are and basically want to supply to them and give in to them and all that stuff. And basically the feminists guys of the world, okay? And then you've got the red pill movement, who basically are realizing more and more how women interact with society and how they truly feel on the inside. Not what they put up as a facade to the world, but what is actually going on. So that's the red pill movement. And in that movement there was, this is called the manosphere very often. And there was a niche in there called the Christian manosphere. Now these are guys who are basically believers in God and who wanted to follow God, but still had taken the red pill, so to speak. And they were trying to figure out, how can we get this back on track so that marriage can work again in today's world, because it's not working, obviously. And so there's this one prominent guy in that specific niche part of the manosphere, and he was like, I've got a solution, but it's secret, and I only give the solution to people who ask for the password from me to log into my website to find out the answer. So we, obviously, being interested in and intrigued in what his secret would be, well, basically, we got into the website, and he explained a little bit, and then he said the only solution to getting women back on track and for marriage to work again and for patriarchy to be established again and for the world to become a better place, violence. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay, so I just, that was back then. I'm reacting right now, but I still reacted back then as well. Just listening to that and basically understanding this is how men feel. They believe that they can force women to get back in their place and use manipulation and all those other things in order to get what they want from women. But women will become burdened again, oppressed again, And that's just going to create more problems. It never works to force people to do what you want them to do in the long run. Never. It never works. And if it does work, then it's because you're forcing a lot of other people as well. But even that's gonna eventually come to an end, because one of the strongest emotions in humankind is the desire for freedom. We all desire freedom. No matter how we believe we're gonna get it, we still all desire freedom. Now, his version of becoming free obviously included violence. It's not gonna work. And the last story is basically a friend of mine who is gay. Okay, so I love this guy. He's absolutely awesome. Obviously not that way, but I love him for who he is and what he believes in, what he stands for. His background is basically that, you know, he hadn't come out of the closet. He did some peace studies, and there he met his future partner, and they've been together now for a long time. And there's been a lot of emotional instability in his life. A lot of emotional instability. So up and down, up and down, up and down. And he studied peace, and so did his gay partner. And so they want to create peace in the entire world. Global peace. Yes, please. This is something that we all want. And yet, this friend of mine is passionate about it. Like, it's his life dedication. It's his work. Okay? He's dedicated his life to create peace on earth. Now, that's wonderful. But the only way he can keep an inner peace as a feminine gay man is for him to pop pills. Now, isn't that interesting? This is where I'm now going to explain these three different stories in one simple term. When you are feminine, there will always be an inner battle, an inner war. You're going to be confused. You're going to not know what's going on. Your emotions are going to be up and down, up and down, up and down, and you're not going to know what the next step is in order to create inner peace. It's going to be a struggle if you remain in your femininity. What's my definition of femininity and masculinity, if you don't remember? Femininity is having no control over one's emotions. Therefore, also no control over one's destiny. Masculinity is having full control over one's emotions, and therefore full control over one's destiny. Not only one's destiny, but the destiny of the entire world. When you're masculine, you have that capacity. When you're feminine, you don't. Going back to the stories and explaining all of these guys. First, my gay friend. I'll go back that way. The reason why he's trying to establish global peace is because there is a massive inner war in himself. Do you understand? Do you see the picture? If there was complete inner peace in his body, in himself, and he had peace with the whole world, he could now create a movement where other people develop inner peace. But instead, he tries to use an agenda of using force, governments, and force, and higher taxes in order to create peace. But that's going to do the opposite. That's going to eventually create war. Because people don't want to be forced. Does that make sense? Like, he's feminine. Femininity always votes socialism in the way of communism. It's that direction. People say, no, there's a difference between communism and socialism simply because, they're completely different. No, they're not. It's either that direction, which is basically working for the collective force of humankind, or it's working towards individual freedom, the free marketplace. There is no either or. The only reason why things are still kind of working right now is because we've had free market capitalism for years, and that's created an exponential growth in resources and everything wonderful on planet Earth. And then socialism now becomes the norm. We're moving towards socialism, which means that we're gonna throw away free market capitalism simply because people are not going to be motivated to produce anymore and to be productive. Why should they be if they don't get any rewards for the labor that they do? Why would they create solutions for humankind if there's no reward related to it? Exactly. So that's just explaining my gay friends' perspectives, and obviously we have completely opposite views on when it comes to politics, because it has everything for him to do with emotions. For me, it has everything to do with rational logic, and now I'm beginning to control my emotions, to channel my emotions toward achieving rational objectives that's going to actually bless humankind. And it's actually going to work over time. Absolutely, I have no doubt about it. Going back to the other guy is the same thing, who said violence is the way that we're going to be able to get the patriarchy back on track. No! Violence and force is never the answer. Violence is feminine. Force is feminine. Strength in numbers. That's what femininity is. But there's no need for strength in numbers if everyone individually feels that it's correct to do the thing that needs to get done. This is completely in line with the masculinity of Mahatma Gandhi and the masculinity of Martin Luther King. What did they do? It was civil rights movement in terms of Martin Luther King, where they used non-violence in order to achieve worthwhile objectives. They didn't use force. Force sometimes is necessary if other people are forcing you. But if you're gonna be able to take the government to take you seriously, you've got to use non-violence principle. It's the same thing with Mahatma Gandhi. He managed to get 200 million people to follow the same course as him, of fighting for their freedom without violence. Amazing. Exactly. It was the masculine thing to do. And because it was the masculine thing to do and it was the rational thing to do, I mean, some people would say it was irrational because a lot of people got slaughtered and punished for those actions that they took. But they kept moving on. And if MLK and Gandhi had not done the thing that they did, blacks would still, I mean, there's still racism today, and in some ways, very often they feel that there's more racism than there actually is. But the point is, Martin Luther King made the world a better place. Mahatma Gandhi made the world a better place for the future Indians of his country. Do you understand? Violence is never the answer. That's why I believe massively in the democratic way of doing things, simply because eventually through education, not academic education, but true education of men understanding the truth and standing up for the truth, women will always need men more than we need women. Once we understand that and then massively raise our standards for what we accept and what we do not accept, women will vote the exact same thing as men do. My wife is completely in line with me politically. We completely agree. In fact, me and my wife agrees on so much, it's insane. Okay, this is why our marriage is fantastic. It's because we agree on everything. A lot of people say no, but there needs to be opposition. Why on earth would you want to have a massive opposition of beliefs and value systems and beliefs and religious systems in the family? How can you teach your kids anything if you guys have a discord? And the last guy, the one who commented this morning and gave me this idea of inner peace with semen retention, he did 37 days of semen retention. Now, you would think that after 30 days, he would come to terms with himself and, his semen production would normalize and thereby also his emotions. But obviously, in my opinion, this is his experience. So I'm not, bashing on that at all, because people have their own experience. I can't tell him, no, that wasn't your experience. No. But I will share my opinion on his experience, which is basically there's a lot of issues, perhaps even trauma, underlying those things, underlying those 37 days. And in my opinion, semen retention is the only thing that's going to allow him to get through to the other side, where he doesn't need ejaculation in order for him to not be a psychopath. Does that make sense? Hatred and violence and the desire and aggression and all those things that men believe and women believe is masculine is completely feminine. He's completely feminine. If you read that comment again from yesterday's video, you will see the femininity in it. Again, femininity is having no control over one's emotions. An attitude independent of circumstances. An attitude independent of circumstances is what we want, is what we go for. And if we cannot have emotional stability no matter what happens to us, we're not truly masculine. I know this is a tall order. I know, I'm not masculine. Sometimes I catch myself singing by myself around the house. I'm still by myself, alone in this house sometimes, and I sing, and I'm like, it's not really the the masculine thing to do. And I'm just rewiring my brain continuously, and because I'm reminding me every single day by doing this channel, it helps me to keep on track towards more and more and more and more and more masculinity. Why? Because I want women that are feminine. I'm flippin' tired of masculine women, and the only reason why they're masculine is because men are not stepping up and becoming masculine themselves. Men are the ones who set the pace in everything on this planet. We have a choice to make. Do we want women to be masculine, or do we want women to be feminine? Masculine women means burdened women. Burdened women creates a lot of problems. Masculine women create a lot of problems. Feminine women, however, they enjoy life. I'm going to end this with the definition of peace and war when it comes to gender. Peace is a masculine thing. Just think about it. Emotional control, emotional stability, meditation, being able to choose one's emotions based upon what one chooses in his mind. You choose your thinking, you choose your emotion, and that will therefore choose the action. Full control. Beautiful, if you ask me. You can accomplish any goal with masculinity. Femininity, however, is absolute war in the wrong hands. Think about it. A burdened woman who has no capacity, an emotional instability, and a desire to have results now, that is an attitude based on revenge, an attitude based on war, an attitude based on irritability, an attitude based on hatred. Do you understand? This is only because women are masculine and burdened. The more burdened they become, the more violent and dark the female psyche becomes. Men who adopt a feminine attitude will also become dark over time because they're not able to control their emotions. However, the opposite. Feminine women, the opposite of peace, or the opposite of war, is not peace for women. The opposite of war for women is still emotional instability. They're going to have emotional instability no matter what. This is how the universe was designed. A beautiful plan where men would fight for emotional stability and women would be allowed to be emotionally unstable. The opposite of war for women is unburdening, right? Burden, masculine, darkness, war. The opposite is light, party, celebration, dancing, singing, enjoying themselves, and sexual satisfaction. When women are feminine. But the only way we can achieve that purpose is for men to step it up and become masculine and fight for inner peace so that everyone can have the same. This is the Men of High Value channel. My name is Joseph Darling. I will talk to you again tomorrow.